Hello, it's John Heaton, and today I'm going to continue our build up to the Abbey Road, released in 34 days time, I guess, 35 days time, by talking about another track from Abbey Road. So, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to go through all the albums, on all the tracks on all the albums, but I'm in an Abbey Road frame of mind right now, so I'm going to pick You Never Give Me Your Money. Someone recommended that I do that next, so I thought, why not? I was going to do something else, but I'm going to do that. So the first thing to say is, well, I guess it's the start of the medley as we know it and love it today, but when it was recorded, it was just a song on its own, although in of itself, it is three sort of separate pieces joined together very cleverly by McCartney, and just a wonderful three set of smaller pieces put together, a masterpiece in my opinion. When Lennon in 1980 was asked about this track, he said it's not really a song, it's just bits thrown together, and he was less than generous about it and about Abbey Road in general. But we all know John was not always the most generous appraiser of his colleagues' work or of his own work in that, for that matter. Most commentators at the time, I think, acknowledged this was a masterpiece. Even Ian MacDonald. And by the way, I'm going to read you some of Ian MacDonald's remarks, because it shows that he can write very well when he wants to. Or he could, sorry, he's passed away. So it's quite interesting that I reviewed Maxwell last time, and now I'm reviewing You Never Give Me Your Money. From some might say from the ridiculous to the sublime, although I love both tracks. They both got merit, but the Maxwell is kind of jovial humour kind of thing, and this is more serious and a bit sadder, and it has quite a resonant message, as most people know. So Ian MacDonald says, "Only Dear Friend, his song of shocked hurt at Lennon's venomous post-Beatles attacks on him, conveys a sadder reproach than the opening verses of You Never Give Me Your Money, in which, a year ahead of Lennon, he acknowledges that the dream is over. To anyone who loves the Beatles, the bittersweet nostalgia of this music is hard to hear without a tear in the eye. Here, an entire era, the idealistic, innocent 60s, is bravely bidden farewell. Having regretted this loss, the song shows us what it was all about in a quick kaleidoscope resume of the group's ambiguous blend of sadness, subversive laughter, and resolute optimism. Everything hangs on the words, 'nowhere to go,' arrived at ruefully, but instantly spun around and seen from the other side as freedom, as opportunity. The Beatles' future may be gone, but McCartney is determined to salvage their spirit and that of the 60s for his future. You Never Give Me Your Money marks the psychological opening of his solo career. At this transitional moment, the Beatles' sense of occasion rallied for a final fling. If, as they must all have known, this was to be their last album together, they would do the appropriate 60s thing and end in celebration rather than recrimination." A superb bit of writing there from Ian MacDonald, and I couldn't have put it better myself. It's just this song really shows how versatile Paul is as a musician, and particularly Paul. The others are on top form here as well. But and as a vocalist, from the opening sad You Never Give Me Your Money section to the out of college money spent section to the One Sweet Dream, all show Paul singing with gusto and just beautifully. And and again, as I said with the previous ones, a lot of the Abbey Road material, I don't know why it seems to be Abbey Road, but it's more easy to find Abbey Road vocals isolated, bass isolated and stuff than the other albums. And certainly if you listen to the vocal only take of this song on YouTube, it's very interesting. So a couple of other tidbits here. This superb book by Mark Lewis in the recording session, still the Bible as far as I'm concerned. Just wanted to show you this picture of George, Paul and Ringo at the Abbey Road sessions at EMI there. John, unfortunately, not in the picture. maybe he wasn't in that day, or whatever. And then this book confirms, it's on Wikipedia, but if Mark Lewison says it's true, it must be true, that the first take of this song was recorded in a marathon session at Olympic Sound Studios in Barnes, which is not somewhere where the Beatles recorded very often, just a handful of sessions here, and this is the most productive one they did. Now Barnes is in southwest London, or West London, between Roehampton and Hammersmith, and it's also very close to where Mark Bolan tragically died in a car accident. His car crashed into a tree in 1977, 8 years later. I think Glyn Johns was the engineer, yeah, he was, but George Martin was present, and this session lasted from 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. And quite rarely, not that rarely I suppose, but a lot of the tracks on Abbey Road didn't feature all 4 members, but this one did. And although Mark Lewison doesn't mention it, Wikipedia says that Paul played guide vocal and piano, John played an Epiphone Casino guitar, and George a Fender Telecaster. And then in July, they came back and did lots of overdubs, and Paul overdubbed a bass part, improved his vocal, and then they worked on the ending, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, All Good Children Go to Heaven bit, which was not evident at the Barnes session. So that was that. This, as I said, the start of the superb masterpiece of a medley to which they all contributed so wonderfully. You Never Give Me Money. It's difficult to pick a highlight of Abbey Road, isn't it, really? But it is a highlight. It's one of several highlights. It's Paul's singing and writing and playing at his peak. Say no more. Thank you for watching. See you next time.